Alright boys, in today's video, we got a banger. We are doing another tier list update. We're going to do the tier list update. We're got to add all 4 summer units, the new Ascended summer units. We got to add Sword God Luon, and then all of the Dandadan crossover. So, this is the original tier list. This is what it looks like. And now we're going to go over a couple of the changes that I made. So, right here, boom, changes on the screen. We bumped down Summer Miu from SS to S because, Okaroon, we'll get to it later. Hajime, he's been bumped down a little bit, because Okaroon, we'll get to it later. Gamagori, he was an S. I moved him down to A just because he's not a better taunt tank than Kirasame. He's just better if you get the Truth of Eternity equips from Grand Crusade. But those are extremely end game. There is not that many people who have that done. That's going to be an extremely veteran thing to do. If you do have those done, he's up here. But I don't want to mislead newer players by putting Gamagori up in S when he's not that good for newer players. Kirasame is going to be better. And then a couple more things I changed. I moved Jay down here. I moved Sanosuke. I moved Swordswoman Valerie down. I moved Yubel down. I moved a bunch of people into A. Oikatsu's up here now. Delta and Momon are at the top of A. I think Delta was before, but Momon was at the bottom of A. But I moved Momon up because I have recently been paying more attention to farming, especially crest farming. And Momon, there's a thing called arts cut-ins. So Momon helps you cut down your arts cut-ins to hopefully 1. So an arts cut-in is every time you use an art, there's an animation that plays. So when you're farming, you want the least amount of animations possible. And because Momon has 150%, I think it's 150% passive damage up to whoever's to the right of him, he's extremely good for just getting rid of some arts cut-ins. And then you only have to use 1 art cut-in to kill the final boss. And Momon is extremely good for farming. So I moved him up to the top of A. And let's see, what are some other things I moved? I moved up Evil Polar from the top of mid to B. She's not that bad. Let me think. I think those are most of the notable things. But if you want to take a look at the list, here it is right now. And now we are going to add a couple more units. So here we go. Starting with Summer Rosetta. If we look at her kit, Summer Rosetta, she is a Dark Demon, pretty good. So what she does is she is a Archdinner, type F. She has a little bit of magic res. She has some stats up on her art. Her super art is a massive 300% damage up for Dark Demons. And then her passive, basically, heal equips are going to be very good for her. And overall, I do really like her. I'm going to put her in A tier, right in front of Heart. Okay, I don't think she's an S unit, just because most of the time you're going to run her on Mono Dark Demon. And if you're not running her on Mono Dark Demon, she's not nearly as good. But if you are, she is pretty good. I don't think she's as comp forward as these 3. Like, DK Vox, you have to run him in MDD. If you're not running him in MDD, he is just not good. And then Rosetta, at least with her passive, it makes heal equips, all of your healing, so much better. So that's why I don't think she's in the comp category. But she's definitely a lot better on MDD. So that's where we're going to go with Rosetta. And then we have Riviera. So if we take a little quick peek at Riviera's kit, she's basically just a nuke on her super art. And let's see. Her skill has some type G archgen. That's nice. True art, 100% defense ignore, 100% fire res down. That could be helpful. Super art, just going to be pretty much a 400% damage increase depending on how healthy your allies are. So that super art can hit pretty hard, but her passive is also really good. When she is near death, she's going to recover all allies' HP by 100%, and they all gain a 5k damage barrier. So pretty solid passive there. So we are going to put Riviera. Where should we put her? I think She's just a damage dealer, and I don't think she's going to be doing as much damage as our newer DPSs. So I'm going to put her at the bottom of A tier. And I think that's where she's going to stay. Because she is pretty good. She's going to be doing some good damage. And she has that passive that I really do like. So that's where we're going to put her. And then we have Sword God Luon. So if we look at his kit really quick, his skill, he has type C Archgen for dark units. Definitely going to be very nice. His art is pretty much where his damage comes from because of this current HP times 7%. That could get crazy with all of the stats up we have now. This could be a little bit diabolical. And you could definitely get this to do some crazy damage for an art. And then his true art increase all ally stats by 30% and physical damage by 100%. So if you ever need a little bit of a heal, that's there. The 100% damage up, that's cool too. His super art, so you want to run him on a team with unique races. So for 15 times number of allies alive of unique races, seconds increase own super crit by 50% and allies crit rate by 100%. So you could get 60% of crit rate, or 60 seconds of 100% crit rate, and that could be very nice. And then his passive, he has 50% equip CT when he's the leader, so pretty solid. I don't think he's an S tier unit, but I am going to put him toward the top of A. So we're going to go right there with Sword God Luon. He, just the Dark Archgen. He's going to be a little bit limited to mono dark teams. And yeah, he's still going to be good, but don't think he's quite in that S category. And then we have Summer Meera. So let's take a look at her kit. For Summer Meera, she's basically going to be a pretty solid mono water unit and a very solid accuracy attacker. So her art, heal all ally status ailments, and increase freeze and paralysis res by 100%. So pretty good art. Her true art increases all allies accuracy by 80% and own accuracy by an additional 80%. And playing into her passive, that's amazing. Her super art for 30 seconds increase water allies damage by 150% and DR by 40%. So she's very, very good on mono water, giving the whole team another 40% DR. Definitely hype. Her passive, this passive is crazy. Increase own damage by 2 times accuracy buff. So just from her true art, she's getting 160% accuracy up. That means she's getting a 320% damage up passively just by activating her true art. And increase her arts by her accuracy buff divided by 20. So she has 160% accuracy. That's 8 arts a second passively. And if you throw on the right equips, you can get her up to 250% accuracy. And then, or is it? Yeah, 250% accuracy. And then you have 500% damage up. And you have 12.5 arts a second passively. And she can get a little bit crazy. So I do really like Summer Meera personally. But she's definitely not in that S tier. She's not up here with these guys. I'm going to put her in A. And I'm going to put her right here. Because, Valerie's going to do more damage. Valerie also has a heal, I think. But that 40% DR is super nice. And I think Meera can do quite a bit of damage. Definitely not as much as Valerie, but she can do a pretty good chunk. And she has that 250% ACK up that no boss is going to be able to evade. That's like an absurd amount of accuracy if you build her right. And then next up, we have Summer Cilia. So Summer Cilia is going to be very good for dark teams. I do really like her whole kit too. Her skill, whatever. But her art increases all allies' arts by 30. And for 30 seconds, allies gain a damage barrier that negates 6,000 damage. Pretty solid. True art increase all allies' arts by 50. And for 25 seconds, reduce enemies' damage res by 70%. So basically, if you use her art, you're just distributing arts. And you're getting a damage barrier. If you use her true art, you're distributing arts. And you're getting some extra damage on the boss. So definitely like those. They're nothing crazy, but they are very helpful. And then her super art, 100% chance to inflict burn and blind. And for 30 seconds, heal all allies HP by 1,000 a second. And dark allies by an additional 1,000 a second. That is an absurd amount of healing. 2,000 a second is crazy. So, I mean, I wish I got her, but unfortunately, I got cooked. She also has 100% crit rate and 30% super crit when the enemy is affected by a status ailment. So that's kind of nice. Once again, I don't think she's going to be an S tier unit, but I do really like her kit, and I think those heals are going to be amazing for Mono Dark. And even if she's not on Mono Dark, she's still going to be a good healer for other teams, and I think that's going to be very good for newer players. So we're going to put her at the top of A in front of Sword God Luon. I do really like her, and that shield is also going to be good for new players. I wish she had some Arch Gen, but she doesn't. That's whatever. And now we are to our 4 Dandadan units. So the first Dandadan unit we are going to go over is going to be Gigi. Gigi is definitely the worst unit in the crossover. His art is pretty cool. It's going to increase allies' paralysis and freeze res by 100%. Pimp. And then additionally, when used for the first time, increase all allies' arts by 100 and demon ally arts by 100. So you can use this. I only really find use for it when I'm using like a mono demon team. If I'm not using a mono demon team, getting that 100 arts to everybody, it's still nice, but I would never use GG as a nuke support outside of a dark demon nuker. And honestly, there isn't very good dark demon nukers. The best one I can think of is Demon Lord Rimuru, who, yes, he is still a good nuker, but he is so outclassed by our new nukers that it doesn't even matter. At all. So you can just benefit so much more from using a different nuker than relying on GG to buff a mono dark demon nuker. And his true art is going to be stacking dark res down. His super art is just going to be a pretty big chunk of damage, but the animation on that is way too long. And then he has passive defense ignore and what's the other one? Increased damage to human enemies. Whatever. He also has passive accuracy buff. So GG, I do not like him that much. I wish he was better. Unfortunately, he's not. He's definitely not very good outside of mono demon teams. Or even mono dark teams. He can be used on either or. A mono dark demon is preferred. But I'm going to put him at the top of B, right there. And then next up on the Dandadan list is going to be Ira. So Ira is actually pretty solid for Mono Fire. I do like her. She does have Type G Archgen. That is actually pretty solid. Paired with her True Art, it's going to have almost 100% uptime, and it's going to be 5 arts a second. And getting 100% uptime from a Type G Archgen is kind of huge, because Type G is pretty rare, and it just opens up like new possibilities. Because my Mono Fire team I like to run is Summer Iris, Ira, Sunraku, and then probably Kirasame. But now I can get away without using Kirasame because of Ira's DR passive. It's kind of disgusting, and I do like it. And her art is pretty nice too. It's going to increase all allies' next super art damage by 100% and accuracy by 70%. And then her True Art, each time True Art is used, permanently increase Fire Allies' attack by 50% up to 200%. So with all of the Fire Allies that have the damage ratio passive, so like Delta, Stark, Ira, I think that's it for Fire. Pretty sure all of them are going to be hitting crazy. Oh, and Oikatsu. They're going to be hitting crazy numbers if Ira's on the team. Also going to give 100% skill CT speed up, so that's where she gets the almost 100% uptime on her skill. And then her super art is actually just going to be a pretty sizable fire res down. And if she is the leader, it's even bigger. And this, if you have the true art stacked, you have 200% attack up. You use an art to get 100% damage up. And then combined with the damage ratio passive we have down at the bottom, using her super art actually does a ton of damage. It's a pretty sizable amount of damage. I do really like Ira. And she has that increase below 50% HP allies damage res by 30%. So if you're ever getting close to death, Ira will just be like, nuh-uh, here's another 30% DR. So I do really like her. We are going to put her right above Yubel. So at the top of A, once again, we're just getting a bunch of pretty solid A tier units, it seems. And then next we have Momo. Momo is going to be a water human, and her art increases all allies' arts by 25. For 20 seconds, reduce all allies' damage taken from human, demon, beast enemies by 30%. That DR should stack with every other DR in the game. I'm pretty sure. And the arts up on it is super nice too. Her true art is going to be equip CT speed. I personally love equip CT speed. I've heard a lot of vets say that they don't like it, they don't care about it. It's not the meta, but personally, I love it because equips can make or break your account. And if you have good equips and you make them twice as useful, the game is so much easier. So, me personally, I love equip CT. That's why Star God Liza is in SS. And then we have Super Art, increase own super crit rate by 30% for the duration of current super arts, and for 20 seconds, increase water allies damage by 200%. So she's also going to be very good on mono water, and this super art does hit hard too. Pretty much all of the Dandadan units had really high damaging super arts, and I kind of like that. Nah, I like that. I love seeing big numbers. And then when she's above 80% HP, she's going to increase her own super crit by another 20%, and when above 50% HP, increases own crit rate by 100%. So she's going to do some pretty big damage numbers, and I love that. I love me some big numbers. But I also got beef with Momo because she is the only one from the crossover I did not get. If you remember, I have said a couple times, I think Gigi was the worst, then Ira, and then Momo. So Momo's going to go somewhere above Ira, but where? Once again, I think we have another A tier unit. I'm going to put her at the top of A tier with most of the people that we've added in this video. But now, we get to the big one. This is the one everybody's been waiting for. Okaroon. Okay? Okaroon is a dog. So, his skill for 5 seconds increase own arts by 6 a second. It's type EX1, so it'll stack with every other archgen except itself. And arts for 30 seconds increase own skill CT speed by 70% and own physical equip CT speed by 30%. Honestly, this art I never use unless I just need a little bit of quick damage, because the animation on this is really fast. So if I'm just like spamming true arts and then I get to a point where I just need a little bit more damage, I just use an art. And if I don't have enough for a true art, just use an art and boom, we're good. True art, this true art, it's diabolical. So for 50 seconds, increase allies attack by 60%, stackable, and physical damage by 100%, stackable. That's disgusting. Okay, that also does a pretty good amount of damage. The animation is even faster than Summer Miyu's. The damage is a little bit more split out, but the initial hit is way before Summer Miyu's is. So I do like it a lot more. I like the animation more than Summer Miyu's, and the effect is so much better because it's going to give stacking attack and an even better stacking physical damage buff. The only issue is it's missing the archgen, but you know, we don't even need it because this man, he's disgusting. Okay, and then super art. See, I think even if he just had that true art, he would still be like an S or an SS unit. But then we add his super art. 220,000% damage. Physical, which is way better than magical with the current meta. When used for the first 2 times in a quest, doubles own super art damage multiplier. So the first 2 times you use it, it has a 440,000% multiplier. Additionally, when super art is used for 20 seconds, reduce enemies' earth res based on how high current HP is. Max 200%. So we have a we have a 440,000% multiplier with 200% earth res down. And every single true art we did before that is going to give him a stupid amount of damage. And then we get to his passives. He doesn't even slow down. The passives just make it better and better. So increase all allies damage res by 30% for first 2 minutes of the quest. He just has a passive 30% DR for the whole team. That's disgusting. And then at the start of the battle, increase own arts by 200. That's the same passive that Summer Miyu has. That's the same passive that Jay has. You already know what this passive does. This passive is disgusting. It makes it feel like you're cheating when you're using Okaroon. It's so broken. you literally just get to use a true art every wave. And then once you get to the boss, you just have a super art. You use it, the boss just blows up. The boss literally just leaves. He says, no, I don't want to fight Okaroon. I'm going. And then we also have a ratio passive on Okaroon. This ratio passive is going to increase his damage by 1% of his attack divided by 100. But if you remember, his true art has a stacking attack buff on it. You're going to stack the attack ups, and that's going to play into his ratio passive. This is like the perfect damage unit. This is the perfect damaging unit. And he's not even selfish. He gives all of the damage buffs to his teammates. And he's giving 30% DR. Okay. Where am I putting him on the tier list? Where does Okaroon go? Obviously, he is an SS unit. Obviously, right? I would never dare put him in S. But where is he in SS? Where would I dare put Okaroon? I think you know the answer to this. Okaroon, in my opinion, is the best unit in Grand Summoners. Call me crazy, but I'm taking Okaroon over any other unit in the game. I have this man luck 121. I have him triple 5+ as of today. I love using Okaroon. He is so much fun. He's so much more fun than any other unit in the game. I love units like this. I love units like Summer Mew, like Jay. I loved Gray when he came out, if you can remember who Gray is. I love units who just feel like cheating. He's so busted. It's disgusting. And in my opinion, he is currently the best unit in Grand Summoners. You can definitely make arguments for Hoka and HK Roy, but you can even make an argument for War God Fen. A lot of people don't like War God Fen, which is crazy to me, because War God Fen is like insanely busted. I would never understand why people think anything else. But back to the topic. Okaroon, in my opinion, is the best unit in the game. I feel like there's a lot of people that would agree with me on this, and I feel like there's a lot of people that would not agree with me on this. But he's busted. There's no other way to put it. He is busted. This man is changing. He's like completely changed the whole meta. Like before, it was Hajime, and the Hajime nukes were breaking the game. Now imagine if you took Hajime and you put Hajime and Summer Miyu into one unit, you would get Okaroon. And you give him 30% DR passively. Like, it's disgusting. I just love using Okaroon so much. He's my favorite unit to use in the game right now, and probably will be for a very long time. And I don't think he's going to get power creep soon. Call me crazy, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be pretty meta for a long time. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know if you guys disagree or agree with any of the listings, like any of them. Like if you think GG should be higher, if you think Momo should be higher, you think Luon should be higher or lower, you think Meera should be higher or lower, Ira, literally any of them. If you don't like the changes I made, like moving Summer Miyu down from SS to S, I did that because Okaroon just overshadows her so much now. Same with Hajime, I moved him a little bit down just because Okaroon overshadows both of them. They immediately got power crept by him. You know, like Hajime and Okaroon, Hajime's super art still does more damage than Okaroon's, but he doesn't have the true art spam that Okaroon has before the super art that's going to make it do so much more damage. And then Summer Miyu, her true art spam is also really good, but it doesn't have the stacking attack up. And it's 20% less physical damage stacking. It does have Archgen, so she still is a very good unit. But I'm taking Okaroon over any other unit in the game. I don't care. This man is busted. It's disgusting. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, all that stuff. And yeah, just leave a comment down below saying something you agree with or something you don't agree with. But yeah, that's going to be it. See ya.